Hello everyone, Casey here, and I am back this week with another video. And this video I feel like is long overdue. I've seen it a few times on YouTube, and I thought it was really cool, and I wanted to do it, and I am channeling my inner Wednesday Addams with my braids today. Sorry, not sorry. So today I'm doing the first time tag, which is questions about your first time of most things. So, I thought this was really interesting. I was looking through the questions, and I was just kind of like, hey, these are not the questions I expected it to be. But, yay, cool, let's do it. Question number 1. First tweet. I have looked it up. And my first tweet was sent on March 6th, 2012, and it was channeling my inner Katniss and taking a long hike through the woods. Maybe I'll find something, maybe not, with a little eye emoji, and I'll put it in the screen. Yes, that was the first tweet I ever tweeted. Number 2, first YouTube video. Well, that's easy because I just kind of did this video a few weeks ago. The first YouTube video I ever did was the What's in My Bag video in 2015. And if you haven't seen it, I'll put a link in the description box. And I'll put the link in the description box for my updated version that I did 2 videos ago, I think. Question number 3, first Facebook profile picture. Well, this is my first Facebook profile picture. Yep. I was in high school, and I really don't know what else to say other than I was in high school. And I was young, and these were my friends. They still are. So, that was my first ever Facebook profile picture. The next question. I don't know how this is the first time. Well, I guess kind of. Do you still talk to your first love? No, I do not. Nope. Nope. Not at all. I wish I did. I saw him like 3 years ago somewhere, and it was like we bumped into each other, and I mean, it's been a minute. And I hadn't seen him for like a few years after that. Now, obviously, I have been with other people since him, but my first love, no, I do not still talk to him. Like I said, I bumped into him a while ago, and I was kind of like, wow, maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. Hey, what was your first alcoholic drink? My first alcoholic drink was probably wine at my house. The first alcoholic drink that I ever purchased, like when I was 21, was a pina colada from Cheesecake Factory. And the first ever alcoholic drink that I drank without my parents being there was a frozen daiquiri, a strawberry frozen daiquiri. So wow, those are 3 first. I don't even drink, guys. I really don't. Like, I'm surprised I even remember that because I haven't had a drink in like 4 months. What was your first job? My first job was at the ice skating rink. Like, that was like a mile away from my house. I was a skate guard. So, pretty much, I had to wear this giant orange jacket that said staff on the back, or guard. And I had to skate around the ice rink and make sure that no kids got hurt. And then I also had to sit in like a room with the skates in it, because we traded off between like skating and then like renting out the skates, because there were like 4 of us, and 4 of us a shift, and 2 people would be on the ice and 2 people would be in the skate shop. And our shifts were only 2 hours long, so an hour we would switch back. We would switch, and then the 2 who were in the skate rental would go to the ice rink and skate and make sure no one got hurt. So that was my first job. What was your first car? My first car was like a 1995 Toyota. and it was not kept up, and I bought it for like $50. Cost me a dinner out with the person. It was my mom's friend. And she was like, no, buy me dinner and it's yours. And I was like, sweet. Cost me $50 for my skate rental money. And it died 2 weeks after I got it. So that's my first car. And I currently own the first car I ever bought myself. Like, my first, like, okay car was my 2000 Toyota Camry that I have right now. Who was the first person to text you today? My mom, saying that she was coming over. That was the first person. That was the first person who texted me today. The first person I texted this morning was my best friend, Melissa, who I'm going to Sunfest with on Friday. And I was texting her about, like, the trip and logistics and stuff. Who's the first person you thought of this morning? It probably wasn't a person, it was probably my lizard. And it was like, shit, it's 9:30, I gotta turn on his heat lamp. Because it needs to run a 12-hour cycle, and that means it's not going off till 9 o'clock at night. So it's probably not a person, it's probably my animal, as well as my bird being like, need to uncover him. Because it's late, it's like morning already. But person, probably my mother, because she texted me saying she's coming over. Who was your first grade teacher? This is really easy. My first grade teacher was Miss Hanson, and she was awesome. She was the one that really got me into reading, and really like encouraged me to read. And when I really got into reading, like my parents obviously like fed that obsession with reading and bought me like book after book after book. And that's why, like, I'm such a bookworm, I'm such a reader. Like, it doesn't even have to be, like, a fun, it could be, like, an academic book. Like, I actually still go back and reread some of my college literature books because they had all the short stories and poems and essays and, like, literature in it that I love. So every once in a while, I still go back and read that. But Miss Hanson was the first one that was, like, really, like, you can read pretty well for your age, go with it. Go on your first ride on an airplane? Probably to Mississippi. Probably to Mississippi to visit family. Half my family is from like the New Orleans, Mississippi, Tennessee, South region. My grandma was born in New Orleans, moved to Tennessee. My dad was born in Tennessee. My uncle was born in New Orleans, and then they moved to Mississippi. And then I think when my dad's like 14 or 15, he moved to Chicago. But, like, that side of the family was, like, raised in the South. So my first time ever on an airplane was probably to Mississippi. Who was your first best friend, and do you still talk? No. My first best friend, I have two. My first best friend was Chris Alonzi, and unfortunately he passed away a couple years ago from leukemia. And my other friend, Molly McCauley, I do still talk to. In fact, I texted her the other day. And I've been friends with them since I was like two or three. Yeah. Molly McCauley I've known since she was born. I'm like 2 or 3 years older than her. But yes, I still talk to Molly. Where was your first sleepover? Probably my cousin's house. My cousin Danielle and I are 3 years apart, and we are freakishly close. And my first sleepover was probably at her house. What was the first thing you did this morning? Turn on my lizard light. Turn on the lizard light. / go down and make myself breakfast because I need to eat like first thing in the morning. What was the first concert you ever went to? The first concert I ever went to was Britney Spears. What tour was it? Oh, I've seen her twice. I saw the Oops, I Did It Again tour and the Dream Within a Dream tour. But they were the first concerts I ever saw, like proper concerts that I ever saw. First Broken Bone. The first Broken Bone, I have a few. The first broken bone I ever broke was my right arm, my right wrist, right. My Fitbit's covering it, but right there. I had a green tree fracture, which if you don't know what a green tree fracture, it's like when you break a branch and you snap it, and the top kind of goes like that, but the bottom is still intact, so it wasn't a clean break. It was like that. And then about 7 months later, I broke my left hand, which is not good because I'm a lefty. My first arm I broke falling off my swing set, and I was told not to go swing because it was muddy, and I did anyways, and I slipped coming off the swing and like went back over the swing, like I slipped like that, and flipped back over the swing, and my arm went like that, and it's kind of like, and then my left arm I broke because I wanted to prove to my brother and his friends that I could like hang out with them, and I couldn't run with the big kids. I couldn't run with them, I'm sorry. Because they climbed trees and I hit a dead branch, and the branch snapped from under me, and I was little so I couldn't grab the branch above me, so I fell like 7 feet onto like the root, and this arm landed behind my back, so the pressure was kind of like, that was a clean break though, that one. First piercing was this one. My first holes, my first piercing. It's gone a little crazy though. I have a lot in my nose and my belly button pierced. My first one was my first holes. The first one I did alone, like when I was 18 and didn't need anyone to sign for me, and I could like choose it myself, was this one, I think, like my cartilage piercing. Yeah. First foreign country you've gone to. Canada. The first foreign country I ever went to is Canada. The first real foreign country I went to, because back then you didn't even need a passport to go to Canada, you could just drive through. The first proper, like I went on a plane and flew for hours and hours, was England. I went to London when I was 14 for 7 weeks, and that was like an 8-hour flight. That was the first like proper. First movie you remember seeing. The first movie I ever saw in my life was when I was 2 days old. I went to go see Land Before Time because it was my brother's 3rd birthday. My brother and I are 2 days apart. I'm the 14th, he's the 16th of November. And my mom had promised him that he would go see that movie, and I came early. But my mom was not going to break that promise to my brother. So when I was 2 days old, I was in Land Before Time. First movie I remember seeing was Braveheart at 7 years old. Bad parenting. Bad parenting. Who takes a 7-year-old to see Braveheart? Minded. Attention. When was your first attention? 7th grade. 7th grade, because I wrote a false note saying that I was going to be late to class. And the teacher didn't buy it. And I got detention. Who's your first roommate? My first roommate's name was Monica. I was 18 years old and I had just moved to Florida. And then I had Tana and Suzette when I was 19. And then that was also the year that I moved in. The year later was the year that Melissa and I lived together. And so from 20 to 23, I lived with Melissa. So she's the best roommate I've had. If you had one wish, what would it be? Probably that I could be a mermaid. I would wish that I was a mermaid because I am so deeply in love with the ocean and so deeply in love with like aquatic life and that whole ecosystem that I would love to see it up close. And I would love to like see like the reefs and the fish and the sharks and the coral and the octopuses and jellyfish. And I would love to be able to do that and not be like a meek human. And like, yeah. So I'd probably wish to be a mermaid. probably a really weird wish, but I'm just so in love with the ocean that, like, that's what I would wish for. What was the first sport you were ever involved in? Trying to think, because I did a lot of sports at the same time, but soccer. Soccer was the first sport I ever really got into, and I did it from, like, kindergarten to, like, 7th or 8th grade-ish. But I was obsessed with soccer, but I also did gymnastics, and I tried baseball, and that was really it. Those 3, but soccer was the first and my main love. What's the first thing you do when you get home? Throw on pajamas. I'm in my pajama pants. Not right now. Right now. I literally walked in the door, started filming. I was like, I need to put pajama pants on. Leave my shirt on. I'll put PJs on. That's the first thing I do whenever I get home. If I'm home. If I'm home for the day or for a length of period for more than like an hour, pajamas. If I'm just like stopping in for like 20 minutes, the first thing I usually do is probably like walk my dog. Last question. Of course, this is the question that was last. When was your first kiss? My first kiss. I think I was like 14. I was 14 or 15. And it was with my first boyfriend at the time. Yeah. And it was at a park late at night because my friend and I snuck out and went to meet him at like 11 o'clock at night at the park, like down the street from her house. And it was like in a little tube slide. But that was my first like kiss. And yeah. So now you know that story. If you like this video and you'd like me to do more kind of like tag and chatty videos, leave me a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you guys later on in the week with a new video before I go to Florida. And also, I'm going to be in Sunfest, so if any of you guys live in the area and are going to Sunfest, let me know if it's fun. I've never been. This is my first year, and I'm really excited. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. It is so lovely here, and I hope it's lovely where you are, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!